I am just waiting for the slides to download. I am super excited to start this initiative. I love teaching. I love sharing tips, strategies, tricks to help, burned out uh, women, but also anyone who's feeling burned out and overwhelmed, realize that self-care is a non-negotiable necessity so that we can show up powerfully, uh, as mothers, as employees, as leaders, as partners, so that we can be the best, absolute best versions of ourselves. So we are going live today. It's an important topic. I want to share with you the 5 mistakes that are keeping working moms stuck in a cycle of chronic stress and burnout. I believe that it is imperative for all of us to understand these mistakes because they are, if we understand these mistakes, this will be the foundation to you, to your journey to making self-care a priority. But these are limiting beliefs that are keeping us stuck in a cycle of chronic stress. So it is imperative that we discuss this today. So I think my slides are ready, almost ready. So if you are joining from ever you're joining, tell us where you are, who you are, and where you're joining from, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube. Let us know where you are. And I'm going to start because I don't want to keep you waiting. We are going to start our presentation today. So today is the 5 mistakes keeping high achieving working moms chronically stressed and burned out. So even before the pandemic began, working moms have been feeling like they are on 24/7, 365 days, and we're always feeling like we're letting someone down. There was a study done by Maven saying that just by being a working mother, women are 28% more likely to experience burnout than fathers. That means that in the US alone, there are 2.35 million additional cases of burnout due to the unequal demands of home and work responsibilities. Mothers working from home during the pandemic have reported higher rates of anxiety, depression, and loneliness than fathers. Last year, 3 million women dropped out of the workforce. Working from home has highlighted the massive domestic burden borne by working moms everywhere and underlined the massive physical and mental stress load that this unpaid tasks, basically, because there are unpaid tasks, that they carry, and the stress load is bringing working moms to the breaking point. So the data is clear. Working moms are hurting. There is stress, anxiety, depression, burnout, loss of self-worth, loss of self-fulfillment, loss of general well-being. So today, what I want to talk to you about is the 5 mistakes that are keeping working moms in a cycle of chronic stress and burnout. And these mistakes are really related to our mindset. They are 5 limiting beliefs that we have with regards to self-care that are not allowing us to fully accept that we need to take care of our own well-being so that we can be we can give the best of us rather than what is left of us. So let's dig deep. Let's dig deep now. Okay, so before we go into this 5 self-care habits, I just wanted to introduce myself because some of you may not know me. So my name is Claudia Tabuada. I'm a burnout prevention coach and holistic wellness coach for busy, high-achieving women. I am also the author of the memoir Burnout to Unstoppable and the Amazon best-selling journal, self-reflection journal and self-care planner for the super busy mom. I am also a speaker, a women's empowerment advocate, an entrepreneur and digital course creator, and a multiple marathon finisher. But my most important role is being a proud mom of my 2 boys, Nico and Alex. Alex is 19, Nico is 21. And for the purposes of this training, I am also a motherhood burnout survivor who has come out on the other side to share my message of empowerment. And just to quickly give you a feel of my story, I was a labor and employment attorney when my son was diagnosed with autism. He was diagnosed at 2 years old. And at the time, there were not a lot of services for children like him. And my ex-husband and I decided that I would take a 2-year sabbatical in order to take care of him and also take care of my new baby. And I became the ultimate super autism mom. I was not only the mom, but the therapist, the psychologist, the program intervention manager, etc., etc. And in the process, I burned out. I lost my identity along with my dreams and my aspirations. I lost my spark. And the worst part of all of this was that I did not know how to get out of this situation on my own. And when I remember, I think when my son was about 7, I had a wake-up call where I was driving the car and my son was in the back and I almost fell asleep at the wheel because I was so physically and mentally exhausted. And thank God that there were no incoming cars and I was able to take the steering wheel because otherwise we could have both been killed. And this could have been a wake-up call. And it was, but I was so into this burnout mode. I was so, so used to this life of going from one fire to the next and living my life on autopilot that I kept going. And I kept going 2 more years until there was, I discovered the power of self-care by accident. My son was gifted a guide dog, and I started to take this, this guide dog for walks. And I realized it had been years since I had not taken time for myself, years since I had not reconnected with myself. And this led me on an epiphany where I decided that enough was enough and I needed to put my own oxygen mask first. I needed to become the CEO of my life, the CEO of my wellness. I needed to take responsibility of my own well-being because I could not continue to be in a cycle of chronic stress, especially as a mom of a severely autistic child who will not be independent. I needed to be physically and mentally strong so that I could endure the long-term caregiving journey, which is not a sprint, it is a marathon. So I became hungry for information and knowledge, and I embarked on a 12-year transformational journey where I decided to leave no stone unturned in my quest for the best self-care and best personal development tools that I could use to help me and recover from burnout and also reclaim my health, my identity, and my spark. And that's how since then, I published 2 books and I have developed a burnout prevention process that is called the H3MJPC Self-Care and Stress Resilience Blueprint, which encompasses the 7 most powerful self-care habits that allowed me to reclaim my life and to recover from burnout, and that I now teach to busy, high-achieving women from around the world. So Uh, Today, I don't have time to go in depth into this process, but today we are going to talk about the 5 mistakes that are keeping working moms in a cycle of chronic stress and burnout. So, as a summary, these 5 mistakes are: mistake number one, lack of understanding of what self care truly is. Mistake number two, people pleasing and the failure to set healthy boundaries. Mistake number three, the perfect mom syndrome, and being, this perfect mom syndrome, which leads us to feeling mom guilt. Mistake number four is the belief that there is no time for self care. And mistake number five, dabbling in self care instead of developing mastery. So, we are going to go into detail of all these mistakes. So, Mom Burnout Accelerator number one is the lack of understanding about what self care truly is. A lot of us, most of us, and I can tell you the majority of my clients that come to see me, they think that self care is expensive and a luxury, that self care is just going to the spa or going to a pedicure or even just, going for a workout, doing a workout on the weekend. They also think that self care is spending hours at the gym and hours away from their family. And, they basically think that self care is a waste of time. And I am here to destroy this limiting belief. Let's my understanding of self-care and what I am trying to share with all my busy high achieving women around here, all my busy high achieving working moms from around the world, is that self-care is not a luxury, is not a waste of time, but self-care is your superpower and your secret weapon against burnout, overwhelm, and loss of identity. So let's talk a little bit about self-care. What is self-care? Dictionaries tell us that self-care is any activity that we do intentionally in order to take care of our physical, mental, and emotional health. It is the practice of taking an active role in protecting our own well-being and happiness, particularly in times of stress. And this is very important, particularly in times of stress, overwhelm, anxiety, etc., etc. Now, there are 3 pillars of self-care. There's physical health, there's emotional wellness, and there's also mental wellness. So in essence, I believe that we must start prioritizing self-care and start putting our own oxygen mask first so that we can show up powerfully as a woman, as a mother, as a leader, as a partner. We need to make self-care a non-negotiable so that we can fill our cup and that we can we can be the absolute best version of ourselves. And we cannot think that self-care is selfish. Self-care is the foundation to you being the absolute best version of yourself. Now let's look at mistake number 2, or what I call mom burnout accelerator number 2, which is people pleasing and saying yes when you really mean no. This means that you're probably biting off more than you can chew. You keep taking more and more responsibilities, both at home and at work, always prioritizing someone else's needs before your own. And you may feel exhausted, resentful, and taken advantage of. And yet, you avoid saying no because you are afraid of what someone will think. And we have to realize that the more we people please, the more people will take advantage of our generosity. They will see us as weak and unable to stand for ourselves and to make decisions. Now, what is the solution? Solution is to learn to say no without guilt. Realize that saying no may be hard, but it is often the right thing to do. Saying no is saying yes to your own well-being, which will allow us to give more to others. The solution number two is to establish interpersonal boundaries, both at home and at work. Now, let's define what are interpersonal boundaries. A boundary is an invisible barrier between you and other people. It is a limit beyond which you will not go and where others are not welcome either. It is especially key to set boundaries with difficult people or with those people who are too demanding, too manipulative, or too controlling. People who want to and invade your mental space, who want to drive you down with their drama, their negativity, and their toxicity. It is imperative that you establish interpersonal boundaries with these people. What are some tips to help you establish boundaries? Make a list of people you need to set boundaries with, both at home and at work. It can be, at home, it can be your partner. It could be your children. It could be your mom. At home, your coworker, even your boss. Determine what exactly you are going to say. Like, for example, you can say, to a coworker who wants you to take some of her work, you can say, well, not at this time, or I'm not comfortable with this. Also, determine what you're going to do. I tell my clients that we need to feel confident. We need to use confident body language. We need to plan ahead to determine where we're going to be, saying this. And also, again, establish when and where you're going to have this discussion. Now let's go to Mom Burnout Accelerator number three, actually. It is suffering from the perfect mom syndrome, which leads to mom guilt. Now, the perfect super mom does not exist, but we are trying to be the perfect super mom who can do it all. The perfect kids, perfect marriage, consistently successful career, perfect home. When we think about this, when we think like this, we are setting ourselves for failure. We are setting unrealistic expectations. We cannot be the perfect individual to everyone. This constant thinking that we are falling short in all areas of our lives leads us to feeling like we're a failure. It leads us to feeling that we are not good enough, and we feel guilty for not spending enough quality time with our kids, not cooking nutritious meals, not missing soccer games, etc., etc. And, this is what leads to mom guilt. And because we're feeling guilty, because we're not feeling like the good enough mom or the good enough partner or the good enough leader, we forget about our needs. We put our needs last because we think that, we have to be the perfect individual to all the people except ourselves. So this is what leads to mom guilt. Now, what is the solution? The solution is to let go of the mom guilt and embrace good enough. Embrace good enough selectively. And what does this mean? Is that at home, you will select what are the tasks. What are some house chores, for example, that can be done good enough? The house does not need to be spotless all the time. You don't need to cook nutritious meals all the time. You do not need to fold laundry every single day. It's okay to leave the pile, it can pile up. It doesn't matter. I know sometimes, in my house, I don't fold laundry every day, every single day, and also it is okay to delegate. It's okay to delegate soccer practice to dad. It's okay to delegate house chores to the kids, and the same thing applies to work. At work, the same thing. It may be harder at work, but, dig deep, think, are there any tasks that you can delegate, to your secretary at work, or your VA if you're a business owner, so that you can stay within your zone of genius? Think about it, dig deep. And I think that's all about embracing good enough. Now let's talk about burnout accelerator number 4, which is the belief that you don't have time for self-care. And I cannot tell you, the majority of my clients that come to see me, they tell me that one of the reasons that they do not incorporate self-care activities into their daily life is because they think that they don't have time for self-care. As I said, 95% tell me this, and I call them the time crunch moms. The belief is so ingrained in their nervous system that the thought of starting a self-care routine or a plan is overwhelming. They don't even try because they fear disappointing themselves by quitting too soon. And I can tell you that when we start I have a 3-month program called Self-Care to Thrive. One of the first things that we do, is that we try to destroy this limiting belief that you don't have time for self-care. So one of the strategies is to incorporate time management strategies that actually work, because time crunch moms are not making a real effort to analyze their daily tasks to determine if all tasks are important, if there are any time wasters in their day. Because I believe that most time crunch moms, they come to me with this belief they don't have time for self-care, and they don't even try to go for a 10-minute walk. And as you may know by my stories, I began my self-care strategy, my self-care journey by going on 10-minute walks. So it can be done. It's just a matter of digging deep and analyzing those tasks that may be time wasters. So, for example, when was the last time that you did a time audit? As I said, in my program, when I have my clients, one of the first things that we do is that we do a time audit, so that we analyze where are you spending all your time? Is there any unproductive time? Any tasks that you can eliminate, so that you can, or tasks that you can delegate, that you can eliminate, or that you can automate. So this is really key, and this is one of the first things that we do when I start, a program with a client, is that we sit down and we really do a time audit. I tell them to do a time audit for 3 days, and then we sit together and we decide what are the tasks that are going to be delegated, eliminated, automated, or replaced. The other thing that we do is that, again, delegation is key. Delegation both at home and at work. At home, we need to set boundaries with our partner. It cannot be the mom who does all the house chores. We need to set boundaries with the partner and enlist them in helping us with the house chores. Same thing with the kids. They can help us with the house chores. At work, dig deep. Are there any tasks that you can delegate as well? So it's a very important. Delegation is key. The other thing that I suggest to my clients is to incorporate a morning routine. I am a big proponent of encouraging my clients to incorporate a morning routine. And a morning routine doesn't mean that you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Just waking up 30 to 45 minutes before everyone wakes up allows you to stack a few self-care habits that will empower you and that will energize you, that will energize your body and your mind so that you can start your day feeling strong and focused. Waking up at least 30 to 45 minutes, it will enable to incorporate a quick walk, a quick workout, a cold shower to get you energized. You can do some journaling to establish your intentions for the day and your goals for the day. You can do some meditation. It's all about giving you back control and allowing you to show up powerfully for your day. And as I said, for me, like one of the big things that we do when we start our program is to really, focus on time management strategies that actually work so that you can get back at least 45 minutes of time for you so that you can incorporate those self-care habits that will empower you. Now, let's talk about Burnout Accelerator number 5, which is dabbling in self-care instead of developing mastery. Now, what is dabbling? Dabbling is basically starting something new and stopping when things get boring or when things get hard or when things get, when you don't want to do it anymore. This dabbler mentality and lack of discipline leads to failure to developing the consistency needed for long life self-care habit formation. When you dabble in different things, you never truly commit to anything. So for example, I've had clients who come to me and say, oh no, yes, I do my self-care, and but they have started something. Let's say that they started meditation, then they do it for a couple of weeks, and then they go to the gym and they do some strength training. They go for a couple of weeks. When things get boring or when things get too hard, they forget about this thing, and then they go to the next thing. And what happens is that they start with the motivation. They are happy. They're keen. They tell everyone. They post on social media that they started this new activity, but when the motivation is not there, they quit. And this is the problem with dabbling, is that you start something new, that you go and start, and then you fail to develop the consistency to build long life habits. So rather than persevering, you move on to the next shiny object or the next activity that sounds cool. So what is the solution? The solution is to find one activity that relaxes you and that you are passionate about, and focus on mastery. So for example, if you want to start a long life habit, a long life exercise habit, look at one activity that you love. It could be going for hiking, or it can be dancing, or it can be swimming, whatever that activity that you are passionate about. Focus on that activity and focus on acquiring mastery. So for example, if there is an activity like, let's say that you want to incorporate a yoga practice, set yourself a long time scary goal. Or let's say that you want to do like me, like start running. You want to start running, and you want to walk. You would like to start by walking 10-minute walks, going for 10-minute walks, but you want to become a runner eventually. Set yourself a big scary goal, which could be running a 5K race or running a 10K race. So you will have this big scary goal on something that you want to develop a passion for. So you want to develop a passion for running, and reverse engineer. So you visualize yourself as this person who will be able in 5 months from now to run a 10K race and reverse engineer. So then you decide, okay, what are the actions that I need to take so that I can become that person who will cross the finish line of that 10K race in 5 months from now? What are the actions that I need to take? Do I need to get a coach? Do I need to get myself some running shoes? Do I need to get myself some cool gear so that I can get, excited about, going for runs and have that motivation to go outside and run and go for a run. So look at, what are the actions that you need to implement right here, right now, so that you can become that person that is going to be able to cross the finish line 5 months from now. So that's how I work with my clients. We set a big goal and then we reverse engineer to see what are the micro goals, the micro goals and the actions that you need to take so that every day you are working towards your goals. So this process of mastery will lead to increased motivation, commitment, and consistency. The importance of focusing on mastery is that it allows you to focus on the process, the journey, the actual journey, rather than the end result. So this, you are giving yourself permission to fail. You are giving yourself permission to not be motivated. You are giving yourself permission to be bored. But since you have a big goal to achieve, you will stay consistent. I can assure you that you will stay consistent because you are now in this journey to becoming, the best 10K runner that you can be. You will keep going and you will stay motivated because in the long run, what matters is the person that you are going to become while you want to achieve this goal. And then we can finish with my own story of developing mastery. As some of you may know, my story is that I started my self-care journey by going on 10-minute walks with my son's dog. And it was 10-minute walks, and then this 10-minute walks turned into 2-minute jogs in front of my house. 10-minute jogs with the dog. And then we would go around the block for 10 minutes. And then we started increasing the distance. And then eventually I registered for my first 5K race, which I crossed the finish line of this 5K race. And then I got so addicted that I started to increase my distance. Then I registered for a 10K race, then for a half marathon, and then for a marathon. And then I decided to enter into this challenge, which is called the Abbott World Marathon Majors Challenge, which is to run the 7 biggest, most prestigious marathons in the world, and which I completed. And this, still allows me to stick with my healthy goal of exercising. So it's really a matter of, digging deep. If there is, if there is an activity that you're passionate about, setting yourself a big goal, and then reverse engineer and decide, okay, what are the actions that I have to take? What are the micro goals that I need to accomplish every single day? And this micro goals will give you micro accomplishments. And this micro accomplishments will allow you to stay motivated and stay on, give you the momentum to stay motivated and to develop a long life, healthy habit of exercise. And I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. So again, the five mistakes that are keeping you stuck in a cycle of chronic stress and burnout are. We're going to look at I want to show you we cannot go. Okay. So the five mistakes are accelerator. Okay. No, we can't go. Okay. So let's start back. So number five is dabbling instead of developing self mastery. And this again is dabbling on self care, going from one thing to the other, and not focusing on one activity that will allow you to build the mastery and the long life self care habits that will the momentum so that you can develop this long life habits of wellness. Um, the other burnout accelerator is the mentality or the limiting belief that you do not have time for self-care. And as we saw, 95% of those women that come to me and that they tell me that they don't have time for self-care, when we go back with my clients and when we determine, we dig deep and see, okay, what are, have you done a time audit? Have you done a time audit where you have decided what you're going to delegate, what you're going to replace, what you're going to eliminate? It is key to establish, this time management strategies that actually work so that you can reclaim at least 45 minutes of your time. The other burnout accelerator or mistake of limiting belief that is keeping you stuck is the perfect mom syndrome. So trying to be the perfect individual to everybody else except to yourself. And, this perfect mom syndrome is, it's making you feel that you're not good enough, and that it's making you feel mom guilt. So, making peace with, doing things good enough, selectively, it's important. The other mom burnout accelerator is people pleasing and lack of boundaries. Not being able to say no when you really mean yes. It is key for you to have the confidence, to set these boundaries, healthy boundaries, both at home and at work, so that you can communicate to others that your time matters and that your well-being matters as well. So just making sure that you are saying no when you really, what saying no when really mean no, because a lot of times we say yes but we really mean no. So it is important that we make self-care, that we make establishing healthy boundaries a priority, both at home and at work. And I think I may be missing one burnout accelerator, but it's getting late, so I am just going to go here. So as I said, I have a program that looks at your, it's called the Self-Care to Thrive Success Path. And today we'll look at the mindset. We'll look at the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck and that you need to destroy in order to begin your journey of making self-care a priority. It is key, to destroy this limiting belief so that you can decide that self-care is your superpower to thrive. So in the self-care to thrive success path is what I use with my clients. And number one is to use to have a unique, customized, step-by-step self-care plan with micro goals and incorporating passion as well. Because micro goals, people think that, oh my God, I am so busy, I am so stressed out. How am I going to incorporate a self-care plan? I don't even have time for myself. So anyways, it is key that you realize that, as we saw, self-care is not spending hours at the gym. It is not just going for a pedicure or going for the spa. Self-care is a set of, you know, of self-care habits, coping mechanisms, and routines that you can incorporate anytime that, that during your day. It's a matter of stacking, several small habits, whether in your morning routine or your evening routine, or finding pockets of time during your day where you can incorporate going for a walk, for example, going for a mindful walk. And I am a big proponent that instead of having that it is key to having micro goals every single day, micro goals, 10-15 minutes, so that you can easily accomplish your self-care activities. And as we also talked, passion, incorporating passion into your self-care activities is key, because I can assure you, if you're doing something that you're passionate about, chances are is that you're going to stick with your self-care goals in the long run. The other aspect of the self-care to thrive success path is the time management strategies, incorporating time management strategies that actually work. As we discussed, time audits, doing regular time audits to see what are your time wasters, where are you wasting your time. Time audits to see what can you delegate both at home and at work. It is key that we do those regularly. The other aspect of time management strategies is to incorporate routines and rituals. And again, as we talked about, morning routine or evening routine, where you can stack several self-care habits, so that you can, in the morning routine, to empower yourself and to begin your work day with intention. And in the evening, an evening routine, so that you can relax and get your, establish, incorporate relaxing self-care habits in the evening, so that when you are actually going to bed, you're not tossing and turning. The idea is to have, for example, my evening routine, I do some stretching, I do some meditation, some journaling, reading a book. You can stack all the self-care habits at the end with the goal to get your body to relax before going to bed. The other aspect of the self-care to thrive success path is to a total mindset reset. As we talked about, the 5 mistakes, the 5 burnout accelerators, we try to destroy those, destroying those limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck. But we also build a resilient mindset, a strong and resilient mindset. And last week we talked about my FGPS mindset mastery framework, which I use with my clients all the time to build that strong mindset, because in a lot of times mindset is everything. And then the last aspect of the self-care to thrive success path is motivation, consistency, and commitment. So it is key, to have a community of people who are encouraging you. It is key to have, a lot of people, they say, they want to start a self-care journey, but they don't know how to start. They don't know, and they don't have, or either the motivation or the commitment to start. So, don't be shy, invest in yourself, invest in your total wellness. So don't be shy to invest in a program that is going to allow you to make self-care a priority. And my program, I'm not selling my program, but I can tell you that in 3 months, we get you to become the unstoppable woman that you are meant to be, by making self-care a non-negotiable priority in your life, by making self-care your superpower to thrive. So anyways, so that's my program, and I am having, I actually have 3 spots that are opening. So if you're interested to know more about my program, I have spots for 30-minute self-care audit call, where we can talk about your current self-care habits, and then I can give you a couple of key tips, self-care tips, for you to get you started on the self-care journey. And if you want to know more about the self-care to thrive success path, we can talk about that too. So anyways, Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. It's an honor. As I say, I love teaching. I love sharing my strategies. I love sharing my tricks and my tips. So I will be seeing you next week. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for those who watched. And I'm ending this with my motto, which is self-care is a non-negotiable uh, activity. It is a non-negotiable if you want to be the unstoppable woman that you were born to be. All right, so have a nice rest of your week, and see you next week on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'm going to be going live on LinkedIn, going live on my YouTube channel, and also going live inside my Facebook group, The Unstoppable Mom Project. All right, bye bye.